Hi everyone! This is a class I've really been looking forward to because it's a slow asana practice. Often that's associated with easy yoga, but actually it isn't, and it really goes to the essence of what yoga is all about. I'll talk much more about that, but first let's in shavasana bring the hands onto the chest and stomach and start noticing the breath. Just breathing your normal breath, trying not to change it in any way, which is actually quite a hard thing. Just noticing the coming and going of the breath. That is the breath that you want to find again and again in all the postures we go into. So remember it and how it feels. Stretch out your arms, point your fingers, point your toes, and then guide your arms over to the left side, guide your legs to the left side as well, so that you're starting to feel a stretch into the right side of the body. And that doesn't have to be very deep. In fact, it shouldn't be. We're just starting to feel our body, get our body ready with a few nice and gentle stretches over to the other side. And you could bring one ankle on top of the other, but that's just one of many options. And then we come back to center, feet to the ground, knees high. And maybe you want to bring your arms next to the head here. Drop your knees to the left side. You could, if you wanted to, bring your left foot on top of the right knee. What you want to do is have the feet far apart as you drop, and then same on the other side, feet far apart, maybe right foot on top of the left knee. Just a little bit of a stretch into the left side and hips, so quite similar to that one from before as well. Then right knee on top of the left, so knees on top of each other. You can intertwine again if you want. Drop the knees to the left side, head to the right, to feel a stretch still in the right side, but also that twist of the spine. And then, come back and change sides. As you can see, I'm sort of shifting my hips over to the left. That makes it a little bit deeper. That works for me. It might not work for everyone. So be comfortable just where you are and feel your breath. So you don't want that breath to change. You don't want it to become something else. And then back and onto the back. Hug the knees in towards you. Maybe hands underneath. With the head going up, that's a little bit deeper if that's what your spine craves. Otherwise, just hug the knees in, rock from side to side. So it doesn't matter where the hands are. Now hook your right big toe over the left, and then hands onto the knees. Draw circles so that the knees come in, out, down, and in, away from you. So just circles. Feeling the hips, feeling the inner thighs, and then change direction. But before you do that, hook your left big toe on top of the right, and then changing direction, going out, away from you, in and down. And then hug your knees in, bit of space between the knees so that you can move into your feet, all your toes and your ankles. And then reach for your feet. This is one that could look very, very different. Lots of people aren't able to reach for the feet and keep the neck and shoulders comfortable. So anywhere where I've just shown, hands to the ankles, calves, backs of the thighs is also fine. Just pushing the knees out and down and flexing the feet up. And how that looks in the end does not matter. And this 90-degree angle that you can see me doing is not necessary. It's just about how it feels in your hips, in your inner thighs, in the hamstrings and the calves, and obviously stretch into the Achilles tendon there as well. And slowly release, raising the arms and legs, moving gently into the hands and into the feet. So that's all your fingers, all your toes, and your wrists and your ankles. And then hands underneath the knees, hug them in, send them to the back, and come up to seated. And then cross your legs, sit nice and comfortably, and immediately bring your outer foot in towards you, just because that's a side we don't normally do. So it'll be a little bit different. Straight spine, shrug your shoulders. Inhale and raise your arms. And exhale, pull your left wrist over to the right side. Start guiding the chin in a little half circle from one shoulder to the other, and then over to the other side, pulling your right arm over to the left side and move into your neck. Back to center, push the elbows down, a little W shape as you squeeze the shoulder blades, look up and down. Keep holding that W shape. Squeeze your shoulder blades, reach the arms to the front, pull your left wrist over to the right side, keep the head drop, keep your back rounded, and then pull your right wrist to the left side. Just warming up in a way that should feel good for you. If it doesn't, then change. You can always adapt. Roll up through the spine, and then from here, eyes closed if you want, roll your shoulders forwards up to the back and down, drawing big circles, comfortable circles. And hands on the ground is quite nice because then you can see how they're raising and lowering. And then from here, come onto all fours and bring the knees a little bit further out, maybe knees about mat distance, feet together. And then inhale, raise your right arm, breathing into the right side of the body, just feeling that expansion in the rib cage. And then on an exhale, no rush, guide your right arm over to the left side. You could bend that arm, you could rest your head on your right hand or forearm, and that left hand might support you on the ground, but could also go elsewhere. And then other side, left arm goes up, reaches high, we breathe into the left side of the body, and on an exhale, whenever that is for you, guide that left arm over to the right side. Do with the right arm whatever feels good in your body, because there's no right or wrong. And sometimes the things we see other people do are not aspirational for us, they shouldn't be. Coming back slowly and into child's pose, still wide-legged here. And then we round our back as we come up and we bring our knees together and the feet apart. Inhale and arch. And then exhale, round. Breathe in, arch, raise the head. Breathe out, round, drop the head. Inhale, raise your right leg, foot towards the head, stay. As you exhale, use that left hand to reach for the right foot and look to the left, maybe all the way to the back. Your right arm is supporting you here, you want it to be strong. And stay and breathe. Remember that breath from the beginning when we were lying in shavasana, observing the breath. If your breath can't come back to something quite like that, then maybe you need to change the posture. But we're coming out now anyway. Round your back as you release. Move the hips from side to side. Then on your next inhale, raise your left leg, arch your back, look up. As you exhale, bring your right hand to the left foot. Look to the right side, maybe all the way to the back. And stay and breathe. And that natural, spontaneous breath really doesn't need much. It doesn't need to feel deep, it's deep enough. As we stay, the pose becomes something else, becomes less about what it is, but more about how it feels. Release, round your back, drop the head, move the hips side to side if that's nice in your body. And then tuck your toes under, raise your hips, and start gently walking the heels into the mat, one by one. And you want to be careful there, it needs to work for you. It's never about how close the heels actually get to the ground. They could be high, we could keep our legs bent. In fact, for a moment, maybe bend your legs a little bit so you can focus more on straightening the arms and the spine. And getting as long as you can, raise your right leg. Keep pushing your shoulders to the back. Flex your foot, drop your heel to the buttocks and push that knee up. And then on an exhale, step your right foot to the front. Drop your hips, raise your right arm. So this in itself is a beautiful posture. We don't have to go anywhere else, but if it's too much, drop your left knee to the ground. You could deepen. Maybe you could bring your left arm around that right leg. Right arm drops behind you, and then you could hold on to your right hand from underneath that right leg with the left hand. Could also be your wrist or your forearm. And then see where you're looking. You could look to the back, you could look up to the ceiling, And every way that you're changing where you're looking will change the way that you're balancing here. And of course, if you've got your left hand on the ground, you can play with your gaze as well, making sure that your neck is comfortable here. Don't overstretch in any way. And keep holding for a little bit longer. Release slowly. And look to the front. Raise your arms, straighten your torso. You may come higher. Come a little bit higher if you want. Be somewhere that you can hold. Remember, this isn't about nailing a posture. It never is. It's about being in the posture, letting it unfold, letting it become something else, feeling your body, awareness of the body, and body and breath together. So as you're staying here and you feel your body work, you're allowed to feel the body work hard, but listen to your breath. Always be aware of that breath. As your pranic response, the response that's not just the breath. The breath is the first thing, but prana is much more than that, is everything that the breath influences. Not just the body, but your brain as well. Not just short term, but long term as well. And that's why it's so important to be aware of the breath. Slowly opening up into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana. So we want to look to the front, palms typically facing down, hands in line with the shoulders. So keep your arms active, keep your shoulders active, and then push your right knee out a little bit. That really helps to be active here in the legs as well. You want to push that left hip to the back, open hips. Changing anything that doesn't work for you. So open hips doesn't mean they have to look like mine or have to be more open than mine. It just means that you are somewhere where you feel that you're opening up. Gentle push of the right knee to the right side. Gentle push of the left hip away towards the back. And right toes face the front. Left toes face the side. And again, it doesn't really matter here either whether that angle of the left, whether all left toes are facing the left side, or if that's maybe a little bit different for you. Right, now slowly drop your right arm. Right forearm could land on your right leg. Right hand could come onto the inside or even the outside of that right leg, and your left arm can drop behind you. Again, there's the option to bind here. We may look up. We may change our position of the head in case that's uncomfortable. And if you're not binding and that top arm is going to the front, you might look towards those fingertips, open the palm to the ceiling. That gives you a nice feeling of rotation there from the shoulder. Kind of the opposite of what we're doing when we're sitting at a desk. But again, there's lots of different options here for Utthita Parsvakonasana or extended side angle. It's more about being in one of them and then sticking to it. And feeling that breath. Slowly release. Right arm to the outside of the right leg. We step to the back and walk it out. Lovely long legs and arms and spine in Parvatasana or mountain pose. Often also called, as you will know, downward dog, but also triangle. Now raise your left leg nice and high. Keep your shoulders from coming forwards. Drop your foot, but you want to flex that foot. Drop it to your buttocks. Raise that knee higher. Keep pushing your shoulders to the back. And very active pose here. Step your foot to the front. Drop your hips, but not your knee, at least not yet. And then raise your left arm, look up to the ceiling. Immediately decide if this posture works for you, or if you maybe want to drop that knee to the ground, or if you want to take it into a deeper variation of this twisted lunge by binding, again, bringing that right arm around the left leg. But please choose the posture that works. And on this side, I'm showing a variation that is different, so you don't think that the one that I did on the other side is the standard for it. That's not the better posture. It's just a different way of experiencing the pose. Again, lots of different options. I'm just showing some of them. And keep breathing. That's all we're here to do. Awareness of the breath. Awareness of the posture, where we feel the body, how we're working into the body. Our bodies are so different. We're very different in the ways that we're perceiving things, and you are the only person who can actually feel what is going on in your body. No one has that experience, just you. So it's important to do what feels right in your body. Release. Knee off the ground, on the ground, whatever works. Raise your arms, straighten the torso. Again, whichever you want. And try to straighten that back leg, but not at all cost. Be comfortable where you are. Sink into that left leg. This posture is often called crescent pose. But actually, the Sanskrit word for it is Ashva Sanchalan Asana. Ashva Sanchalan. Ashva is the horse. Sanchalan means movement. So it's like a galloping horse. It's obviously a snapshot because we're in a long held posture. And the idea of asana is to really allow yourself to arrive, asana posture, holding a posture in stillness. Traditionally, those were postures that were grounding, so seated postures that were designed to ground you, make you one with the earth, open up into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana. And just to be a little bit different here, to raise your awareness of what's going on in this posture, open the palms to the ceiling here, still looking to the front. You could close your eyes here as well, if that feels doable. It might be that you feel wobbly. Remember to push that left knee out. And on this side you can see we want to have both butt cheeks in line with each other, both hips in line with each other. Or we want to aim for that, to push them towards that. If our hips aren't capable of that, that's fine. It doesn't necessarily have to do with flexibility. It's also skeletal structures that play a role. Closing the eyes here will mean a completely different awareness of your body, different senses being used. You may know that we have many more than the 5 senses that Aristotle actually talked about already. So it goes back quite a while. Drop your, and I would say, open the eyes for that, drop your left arm onto the left leg. Maybe you're low enough to bring that left arm or hand onto the ground. Maybe you're deep enough to bind your hands behind you. So it could be that your left hand is holding onto your right hand, right wrist, right forearm. Go somewhere that feels good for you. If that bind isn't for you, don't go there. It's nothing that we need to force. It's in no way better than holding elsewhere, than bringing the left forearm onto the left leg. Just keep the shoulders on top of each other, that is all. Shoulders on top of each other. Imagine leaning against a wall, leaning into that wall behind you. You could also imagine a very, very big and tight a yoga class where you don't even have the whole of your mat, but less than that. So you want to keep as much space in sort of that 2-dimensional room. So not letting your shoulders drop to the right side, not pushing your hips to the left side of your mat. Holding where you're comfortable, and then slowly release. Again, that left hand is on the outside of the left leg, and we step the left foot to the back into our mountain or triangle or downward dog, and then drop your knees and come into child's pose. And if you're leaving us here, if you're just a YouTube subscriber and haven't subscribed to Graphy yet, there is a link in the description. So if you liked it and you want the full video, subscribe. And if you're staying, even better.